unfortunately for us, Arsenal, the old enemy, have made it through. So be very on brand if we have to play them in the next round. No voice boxes were harmed in the making of this video. Well, maybe besides my own. 1 like equals 1 prayer for my voice to survive today's episode. We're back, and in the Champions League, we've been drawn against Arsenal. Now, if you're sat thinking, Jack, you've played Arsenal a lot this year. Yeah, I have. Today, we're going to be playing them for the 5th and 6th time, of which, have I played every single one of these games in an episode? I think we have. I feel like I know Arsenal better than I know my own family at this point. Now, we have only played 2 games since you were last here. We'll cover those real quick. First one, 4-2 win against Blackburn. Hunyans, Alanis, Sula, and also Ethan Chapman with the goals in this one. Was a convincing performance, as was this result against Peterborough. Maybe looked a little bit in doubt as the game went on, but Peterborough didn't create a great deal. We had a flurry of chances at the end, and to be honest, we were well worth our lead. So, yeah, with 2 wins in the bag, the Premier League looks better. As for our hopes for the Champions League, I would have rather played anyone but Arsenal. Here is the Premier League table as things stand right now. Chelsea, 3 points ahead of us, but with a game in hand. They have also got better goal difference. As for ourselves, we are actually tied with both Liverpool and Arsenal on 63 points. With 7 games left, Champions League football suddenly looks way better than it has done across the whole of this season, to be honest. This might be the highest we've been. That said, between the Arsenal games, I do have to play Wolves, which is the kind of game that I'd rather wasn't sandwiched between 2 Champions League quarter-final matches, but as has been the case this year, I feel like our schedule's never been optimal. Now, we have had our youth intake since you were last here. Was it a classic? There was one good player. Let's talk about the one good player. Mohamed Ujani? I hope I've said that correctly. Here he is, 15 years old. He is rapid. He is a left winger, and to be honest, he's a bit of a pace merchant, but apparently very, very consistent. Hopefully, he's going to live up to this potential that I'm being told he has. He has been training well recently, so while we're here, we'll just praise his training. Keep it going, Mohamed. The rest of the youth intake, slightly less exciting. If there is one man who I am a little excited by, if just for the fact he's from Gambia. Is it Gambia or Gambia? It's Gambia, isn't it? Just for the fact he's from Gambia. And he's got the name Dembo Diouf. Is that the greatest name ever? I think it might be. This is the other guy I'm a little bit excited by. He's actually got some pretty good current ability. Whether or not he actually ever plays for the first team, it does feel a little unlikely. I'm sat here thinking, why did I think Gambia was called Gamba? I was thinking of Gamba Osaka, the Japanese football team. That's where my brain works. I think about countries and I end up thinking about football teams just without realising. This Arsenal team, I absolutely hate. This Arsenal team, we've played a lot this year. We have to play them more here. I have to go up against this guy, Federico Correa. Is it just me or is he absolutely ridiculous? He is very good. He's the player that I think Paul Parkin can become. Actually, that neatly brings me on to Paul Parkin, who has not been training very well recently, but he has got 2 caps for England now and an international goal for England, which I think is worth celebrating. You might be wondering, why is he declining so much? England decided to play him at left attacking mid. I don't know either. Now, it's a little bit weird, actually. We have only played 2 games since you were last here. Of course, we wrapped things up with the game against Roma, but that game was almost a month ago. We've had a lovely long rest, with us not being in the FA Cup, and with us only having the Premier League and Champions League to worry about, combined with an international break. There's just been a really nice opportunity for players to rest up and get fit. There is one exception to that kind of and get fit category, and it's Matthew Cadman, who, as you can see here, pulled some knee ligaments in training, came back from England duty a little bit fatigued, trained anyway, and he's not available for the first leg at least today, which is a little less than ideal. It means that Lemos probably will start today. This first leg against Arsenal is away from home. With that in mind, it's all about being in it to win it, but of all the teams we could have been drawn against, this is the one team I really wish we'd avoided. Let's find a little positive to hold on to. With the exception of the Catman injury, we are at full fitness, and with his injury, this is the team we are going to go with. Wilford in goal, Rios, Coppo, Sweeney at the back. Coppo, he's on a bit of a redemption arc. I was complaining about him all of last episode, and to be fair, rightfully so. His form had been atrocious, but recently, He's been putting in some better shifts. You can see, obviously, in the midfield, Grasser, Monteiro back in the team. 2 players who have been struggling for fitness this year. They really needed that month's rest, so that's been great for them. Archer and Jamfi in the wide areas, Lemos through the middle, and then Parkin and Alanis up top. Alanis, let's talk about him. His development continues to look absolutely insane. 20 years old, he's still unhappy at the club. Bad news for him. I've just triggered his optional 3-year extension. So now he has a contract until June 2044 on £26,000 a week. We've got him for at least another 5 years. And that is just as well, because when you look at his development since he joined the club, it's kind of mad how much he has improved in the last, 2.5, 3 years now at this point. His physicals have gone through the roof. Jumping reaches up at 13. You might notice here his bravery has dropped off. That is due to injuries, which of course he has suffered with this year, but it kind of feels like he's over the worst of them. And when you look at his development, whilst it has maybe slowed down a little bit with his injuries, particularly in the last month, there has been notable improvements. I, like you, I am a little bit sick of seeing Arsenal. If you're sat here thinking, Jack, we're doing Arsenal again, I completely agree. I couldn't really have the foresight to think we'd get them in the FA Cup and the Champions League knockout rounds. Last year in the Champions League, we had a lovely, easy run through the competition. We didn't play any other English teams at any point, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, with a lot of English teams left in the competition, that was always going to be a little less likely this year. Of all the teams for us to get, though, Arsenal is the one team I didn't really want to play again. It does also mean no European away day. I'm upset about that too, for anyone who's gutted. I absolutely agree. Let's hope we can make it through, set ourselves up for another game. I do feel like, of all the Champions League games we've perhaps ever played over the last year and a half, this is the one I'm the least confident going into, simply because Arsenal, despite losing the Community Shield to us, just feel like they've had our number throughout this year, and with that effort there that's crunched the outside of the post, it doesn't necessarily feel like things are going to change. Of course, if we do go out the Champions League, it will allow me to have full focus on the Premier League. Could we catch Chelsea, who are 6 points ahead of us? That does feel like a little bit of a tall order, to be honest, especially given how patchy our form's been and the difficult running we've got to end the year, but I'm coming up with excuses early. It could be a blessing in disguise if we lose today. That's not really the mindset I feel like I should be having, though. The other bad thing about playing Arsenal is whenever we play them, we have games like this where it just feels like very little happens. The game gets bogged down in the midfield. It turns into a game of chess where none of the pieces are being taken, and it's just a big stalemate. That said, maybe we can create something late in the half here. Grasser with the ball wide to Jamfi, inside to Alanis. He is going to get caught out in possession, though. And now Pinto spreading the ball wide. Correa's in the middle. I don't like Correa. Correa scares me, as does Veloso. His efforts block. Jamfi half wins a header. It's still not away from danger yet. Rollo tries to put it in, and fortunately for us, that's headed out atrociously. And with it, I'm hoping that's going to be all she wrote for the half. I mean, away from home, would I take 0-0 after the first leg? Maybe. That said, I'm not sure we can afford to think like that. There's a very long 45-plus minutes left here, and there could be more happening to end the half. Grasser dinks it towards Parkin. He can't win the header, but it is back with Archer. And with players like Alanis in the middle, who are an absolute fiend in the air, you have to believe we might be able to find the back of the net. VAR's checking it. I feel like there's been a disproportionately high amount of goals ruled out for me due to VAR versus the other team. The good news today is this one is going to count, and it's Archer putting the ball in. Obviously, I think Alanis has, 14 jumping reach, 16 heading. We see it frequently on display. We see it again there, and we take an early lead across the 2 legs. That is a massive goal right before halftime. Question marks over offside. No way, Jose, or should I say Jesus Alanis. 1-0. Wasn't exactly a classic first half. Bizarrely, I feel like we perhaps had the better of the play. 56% of possession. Arsenal with just the 1 shot on target. I want to tell the players I'm happy, but I know if I do that, they'll cry. So instead, I'll make Alanis and Archer cry. Then I'll just have an individual talk where I have faith in them. They're both confused. Have I made an error? I hope not. Sometimes the needs of the many, when it comes to a team talk, outweigh the needs of the few. I don't mind peeing off a couple of players if the rest of the team kind of react well. I will say Alanis on a booking is a little bit scary. Parkin's not playing great in this game. With that in mind, I'm going to make an early change here. Ethan Chapman, on you come. Ethan Chapman never puts a foot wrong, and yet he never does quite enough for me to be convinced that he should be starting. He has been coming back from injury, which has impacted his game time as of late. But with his pace, with his ability going forward, He's the kind of player who, if I was a Premier League centre-back, I wouldn't want to see warming up on the bench. I felt like his pace would scare me, especially if I've already played 65 minutes. Hopefully, if anything falls his way, he's going to be able to carve open this Arsenal team, as we have a great chance here. Lemos, Alanis, one-on-one, and he hits the outside the post. Only 20 minutes left of this game. We've played more than half the second half, and Arsenal yet to have a shot on target in this half. They now have got one back. Have to imagine they are going to commit a few more men forward here. I'm going to bring in Dahar. I think I'm also... Do I want to bring in Grasser? Bring off Grasser. I kind of do. He's tiring a little bit. We'll move Sweeney forward, move Flegard into the defence. Keep 2 subs in our back pocket. There's still 15 minutes left here. A late goal for either team really would change the complexion of the tie. If we could be the team to get the next goal, it'd be massive. Maybe a chance here. Ball loops up. It was Chapman with the effort. Does fall straight down the keeper's throat, though. He catches it with ease. Wilford with the ball, lays it wide to Rios, inside Monteiro. The sub's yet to happen here. Are we about to create something? Lemos, Grasser, who I'm about to take off, lays it back to Lemos. Options queuing up in the middle. One of them is Monteiro. He hits it. It's blocked. And Arsenal, they are living on the edge right now. As the home team, you would really expect them to be creating more in this game. They've struggled thus far, but with 15 minutes left, it's never too late to turn it around. A speculative effort from range there, hits a defender, goes out for a corner. Still, well, I was fearing more to be done defensively from the corner. Fortunately for us, not going to lead to anything. That said, with 10 minutes left, Arsenal are turning a screw here. They are starting to create. They are starting to do a little bit. I'm going to tell the players to lower the tempo, up the time wasting. Let's not look to give the ball away anymore. Let's just hold on for what we've got. Point here, a goal here, a win here, I should say, really. It would be absolutely monumental. It would set us up nicely. Whilst it really wouldn't put me in a situation where I feel like we can rotate the team for the second leg, it'd give me confidence that we can make it to the semi-final. That said, Arsenal still bringing things forward. It's the 89th minute. Referee, can we just end the game a minute early? Wilford getting it away from danger towards Alanis, who can win those headers, does win it. Sweeney battling away. Archer gets the ball, plays it forward to Lemos. Chapman is through, and Ethan Chapman, that's why we've brought him on off the bench. He finds a second goal for us here, and that could prove monumental. Chapman's ability just to run in straight lines, to cause defence's issues with that pace, is just unmatched. He gets in behind against tiring legs, and that finish at the end of it on his left peg, not too shabby. That is going to double our lead on the night. Like I've already mentioned, that could be massive going into the second leg. Oh, breathe a sigh of relief. This was a game I was not looking forward to, and as far as performances I could have hoped for and expected, that's about as good as I imagined. Love seeing Lemos getting man of the match, by the way. Has not played as much first-team football this year, although has still played a lot of first-team football this year. He started 30 games. It's not like he's been rotated that heavily, but he's been an ever-reliable presence in this team ever since he joined us, and he is continuing to do it, turning up on the big stage in games like this one against Arsenal. If you're wondering about the other Champions League games, by the way, we've got Man City beating Lyon after the first leg. Bayern have just annihilated our friends Hertha Berlin, who I would have loved to have played in another final, and elsewhere Chelsea take a lead into their second leg against Real Madrid. If I'm not mistaken, I think I caught it. I think it was Chergui with the goal. It was a penalty in the 92nd minute. Maybe I should have signed him. Right, we have got this game against Wolves in midweek. That said, we are going to go straight to the second game of today's episode against Arsenal. At home, 2-goal lead. It should be ours for the taking, but over the course of the last 12 months, we have demonstrated some ability to bottle leads against other English teams. I'm hoping we're going to get over that hump today. Did always know this game against Wolves wasn't going to be easy. 2-2 draw in the end, but a game that when you look at the stats, we really should have been winning. We created a lot. We scored plenty. Unfortunately, 2 wasn't enough. Chapman and Parkin with assists for Hunyans. Hunyans been in some mad form lately. Also, is it just me or has he improved a lot so far this season? I think he has got significantly better. He has been red hot in form lately. As a result of that, he is going to start this game against Arsenal. And if you want to find a small positive, although we did draw against Wolves and Liverpool did beat Norwich 5-0 and, well, Chelsea won as well above us, good news, Southampton beat Arsenal 2-0. So Arsenal clearly struggling a little bit with their team. I think they may have even rotated more than we have. This game here against them, it's a rather big one for both teams because, to be frank, when you now look at the Premier League table with only a handful of games left, don't think either of us are realistically going to catch Chelsea. So in terms of team news for this game, Paulie Parkin dropped to the bench. Hunyens comes in. Elsewhere in the team, Cadman, you can see here, passed a fitness test, but 45 minutes of action. I don't think it's worth starting him here. So Lemos is going to get the nod at Shadow Striker. The rest of the team, though, is unchanged from the previous game against Arsenal. I am opting to go with the slightly more conservative system. We have a 2-goal lead to protect. We've got loads of attacking options if we need to push for more goals as the game goes on. We've got that capability. But yeah, keen to see how Hunyens gets on. I feel like I've not really bigged him up enough. We paid £78 million for him. So far, on the pitch, he's not been amazing. 5 goals, though, in 7 in the Champions League. So this is his competition, praying that he's going to turn up in this one here. Didn't really envisage we'd be in a situation going into this second leg where we are already 2 goals up, and I didn't really envisage a situation where we might find ourselves 3-0 up, but we very nearly did there. Grasser's header cannons off the crossbar from an early set piece. That is a good opening to the game, I suppose, in terms of an omen for what to expect here, but I would have loved to have seen that go in. I've just noticed that Arsenal are playing with South Korean starlet Kim Jun-sup, and I'm wearing a Korea kit today. Is this a bad omen? I feel like I should be changing the shirt. If Kim scores a goal against me, I'm going to go get changed. I hope that's okay. Mid-video, I will do it off camera. You know, we've got to leave some content exclusively for the paying subscribers out there. Sweeney, can we get something going here? Archer in the wide area. On a booking early on isn't exactly what you want to see. That header by Lemos, not a million miles away. Already halfway through this first half, no shots on target for either team. We've had 64% of the ball. Did notice here, Arsenal did have to sub off Rafael Pinto, who's one of their key men. He got injured in the first 10 minutes. In terms of players that you wouldn't want to take off if you were Arsenal manager, he's probably top of that list. He is one of their best attacking options. And in a game where they will know now with an hour left, plus added time, I suppose, they are going to need to score at least a couple here, Arsenal. He is going to be a monumental miss for them. That said, they are bringing the ball forward. Kim lays it back to Beck. Merengali plays it forward to Correa. Nice build-up play here by Arsenal. They're knocking the ball around nicely. Needs to do some defending in the wide area here. Veloso with the ball, cutting inside. Lays it towards Kim. Sweeney puts in a tackle. For a moment, I thought it was going to be a penalty. It was one of those ones where in 3D you can't really tell. Fortunately for us, it was won fairly. And now we're going up the other end. And Alanis hits it. The keeper turns it over the crossbar with a crazy save. We do still have a corner, though. And I want to believe we can make something happen here. Monteiro over it. We've already seen one header from a corner. Cannon against the crossbar. Could we have another chance here? I mean, it's at the crossbar again. I can't believe it. I mean, it's still not away from danger. Arsenal, very composed, passing it around their own 6-yard box. They have now got it away from danger. Is there more to come here? Rios, Grasser, Monteiro. I'm waiting for this highlight to end, and it just goes on and on and on. And I'm starting to get hope there could be more happening. Archer in a wide area. We've still got a lot of men committed to the attack here. Sweeney plays it forward. Archer, lovely build-up play, heads it inside. Alanis is there. The keeper has absolutely flubbed it, and Alanis has scored another header. With players like Hunyens and Cadman, we've got pacey strikers. Alanis, it goes under the radar a little bit. He's a little bit of a monster, I feel like, in the air. We've seen that in this game here. He's a bit like Erling Haaland, a very physical, beefy style striker. A bit like Tammy Abraham as well in Football Manager. If you use those strikers, you know what I mean. They just seem to have this weird physical factor about them that's been very good in Football Manager for the last couple of years. Alanis showing it on display in this game here, and in a first half which we have absolutely dominated, we've now made it 3-0 on aggregate. 2 minutes left of extra time at the end of this first half. It is going to be 1-0 at the break, 3-0 on aggregate. And when you look at the XG story, unless Arsenal are going to turn things around massively, feels very, very unlikely they're going to come back here. Of course, having said that and just praise the players rather than criticising them, if we now go on to show complacency, I will be a wee bit annoyed. Arsenal, though, when you look at their match ratings, no one turning up for them. It's one of those days at the office where, well, maybe they shouldn't have come in to the office. They're not getting their work done in this game here. We're already 15 minutes into this half. Noticed here, Monteiro on a booking. I feel like at this point we can afford to take him off. Going to do the same with Archer as well. We'll bring in Stevie McDonnell for a bit of game time here to help with his development. Half an hour of Champions League knockout football. Probably pretty good for you at 17 years old. But yeah, this has been a really good performance. Hunyens hasn't played great here. You know what? Cadman needs some match sharpness getting into him. 25 minutes left of this game. Fairly low intensity, you'd imagine, barring a very late comeback from Arsenal. This is probably a pretty good opportunity to give him some game time. Sweeney heads it away from danger. I mean, if Arsenal get one back, do I need to worry? I don't need to worry, they've not even hit the target there. I'm beginning to wonder, is the Champions League just our competition? You know, there's certain teams that just seem to do well in certain things. Maybe this is just our thing. Like, the Champions League, we just seem to turn up with big performances. Maybe it's at the detriment of the Premier League, where I rotate the team too heavily for league games when we drop points, and then in these kind of games here, we can just grind out results. But across 2 legs here, it has to be said, it has been very, very one-sided this tie. Went into it very scared about what Arsenal could do going forward, and as has been exemplified by that shot there that did deflect over, Arsenal aren't doing a lot. They have not scored across almost 180 minutes of football here. 63 minutes and counting. We're going to deal with a corner, we're going to get it away from danger, and I think this game's done. I mean, they've created more in this second half, but still nowhere near enough. Koppo's not having the best of games in the middle. We'll bring in Flegard for him. Elsewhere, Jamfi, you can have a rest. Dahar, on you come. Dahar, by the way, didn't mention it. He won the Next Gen award, did our left back. I suppose when you pay £55 million for a left back, you hope they're going to win some awards. But yeah, he won the Next Gen award, which was nice. I don't think we had any other players in the top 10, mind you. So that's a disappointment. What is most certainly not a disappointment, though, is how today's episode's gone. We've been overdue a game or two in an episode where we get one over on one of our biggest rivals, and Arsenal, who have been an absolute pain in the arse, and going into today I was a bit nervous for, well, they have shown absolutely nothing to fear. Elsewhere, Chelsea, top of the Premier League, have just been knocked out by Real Madrid, having lost the second leg 2-0, which on the one hand means higher chance at a European away day in the semi-final, if indeed we get drawn against Real Madrid, which we have. We're going to Madrid again. We went there last year for the final, didn't we? But on the flip side, with Chelsea now out of the Champions League, they're going to have full focus on the Premier League. And given the fact there's not that many games left, it's hard to see them bottling it from here. You can see here the games here against Real have been penciled in already. An away leg to kick things off next time out. That will be accompanied by an away day, and that is only in 15 days' time. Good news for us, the schedule is a little bit easier than it had been over the Christmas period. Not so good news, we still have a lot to do in the Premier League if we do want to secure a top 4 finish. Whilst recent form has seen us build up a little bit of a cushion, given the games we've got left of the year, where we do still have to take on Manchester United, Man City, I think Newcastle as well, we still have to play before the end of the season. Is it Newcastle? It's not Newcastle, it's Chelsea away. Yeah, with those games left and Chelsea and United away to end the year, I'm not overly excited about the end to the league season. There's still a lot to be done. That said, let's enjoy the positives. Today's been a really good episode in terms of the performances. We've had an okay youth intake. Some of our, younger players coming into some form at a very important time. And even if we did slip up a little bit against Wolves, we have now extended our unbeaten run now for almost 2.5 months. That makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, particularly after how the start of this season went. If you have enjoyed today's video, please do make sure to drop a like on it. As always, it is massively appreciated. Just a little reminder, next episode coming up on Friday. So I will see you guys then for a Champions League semi-final against Real Madrid. I'm nervous for it. Real are very good. We started this episode with me screaming into a pillow. We'll end with it with a smile on my face. It's going good. It's better than it has been. Look, we're not likely to win the league this year, but we're still in the Champions League. That is something we can celebrate. We'll be back on Friday, 48 hours without me. Set the timer, start it going now. You'll be okay, I promise. Thank you so much for watching. We're back next time to head to Madrid. Until then, it's me, Jack, and I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.